Join me, everyone, in recognizing Brandt Snedeker, class of 1999, as a distinguished alumni.
This is kind of hard to follow an attorney who does this for a living, gets up and speaks in front of people, and I will tell Wade the reason why I was not in mock trial with you is because my brother went on to become an attorney, and as people say, I have too many attorneys in the family. So I think I made the right decision. Yes, exactly. This is a great honor to be back, to have this award presented to me. It's something really special. This place is a large part of who I am. So it goes without saying that when I'm on the road and I'm traveling and doing what I love to do for a living, I kind of carry a couple badges on my shoulders or on my shirts as where I'm from. I'm from Nashville. I went to MBA and I went to Vanderbilt. That's kind of where I go. That's what I get the most. And Mr. Joy talked about gentleman scholar athlete at the Phoenix Open. Well, it's not just there. I got it last week when I was on the golf course playing in Sea Island, Georgia. So I get it a lot on the golf course, and it's a way for me to kind of, recognize either a fellow alumnus or somebody who has a child there now. And I take a lot of pride in that, and going out there and letting people understand that this school stands for something bigger than just championships on the field, on the course of play, but it stands for making great young men. So I kind of want to talk a little bit. He kind of gave, I got kind of free reign here to talk about kind of everything. So I'm going to hit just a little bit of my personal, where I got to where I am in my life through my career. Talk a little bit about why I think I made it, and guys I played against maybe didn't make it, and then kind of wrap up with a couple stories that I'm sure y'all would like to hear about the course of my career that I've learned. So I went to Harding Academy just down the road. I grew up on Woodlawn, 2 streets up here. Would walk to and from school quite often. So to say I'm a local boy would be an understatement. I went to school at Harding, MBA, and then Vanderbilt. So I went to school on the same street my whole life. So to say that I didn't branch out, luckily my career is taking me outside of this bubble, so I understand what the rest of the world is like, but I had a pretty special childhood, to say the least. Going my junior and senior year here at MBA, I was able to win a state championship 2 years in a row. That kind of propelled me to play golf in college. That's the one thing I tell people all the time. Since I was 6 years old, this is all I've ever wanted to do is play golf. It's kind of what I was born to do. It's what I would talk about. It's what I love to do. Talking to the fathers in the room, my dad never once made me go to the golf course. It was the other way around. I made him go all the time. And so it was one of those things where that's what I want to do. It's all I was ever going to do. I didn't have a backup plan. I didn't have something to fall back on if it didn't work out. I went to Vanderbilt in the back of my mind thinking I had something to fall back on, but I never really thought I would ever have to use it. Luckily for me, it didn't happen, but that's kind of how my mindset was my whole life. And so after winning state my junior and senior year here, went on to Vanderbilt, had a good first couple years at Vanderbilt, and had kind of a aha moment my junior year in college. I was a communications major, I was in a fraternity, I was having a lot of fun, and I was getting by on talent, kind of talent alone, my God-given gift. And I remember sitting down with my coach my junior year. We have like a meeting before the season starts that he has one meeting with each individual called entry meetings, that you go and kind of talk to him about your goals for the season and what your plans are. And I was his best returning player. We weren't a very good team my sophomore year, and kind of sat down with him, and he talked to me about what my goals were. And I said, well, I want to be an All-American. I want to try to win SECs as an individual. I want to do all these things and kind of go on. And he bold-faced asked me, he goes, well, do you want to play professional golf as your living? I said, of course I do. It's all I've ever wanted to do. And he was like, well, can I challenge you then? I said, yes, please. Tell me what you see. This is your job. You're my coach. Help me out. He said, well, you don't practice like an All-American. You don't prepare like one. And I've never seen a guy get by on talent in professional golf. There's very few of them. So if you really want to do that, you're going to have to reevaluate how you go about it. And it kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. This is a guy who I'm keeping his job alive pretty much because he said, we've got a terrible team. I'm his best player, and he's telling me I'm not doing my job, So I was like, whoa, kind of took a step back for a second and said, okay, well, why are you saying that? And he kind of went through some points and just told me that, and he made one great point that kind of stuck with me. He goes, Brandt, when you're in college and you have a passion, you have a drive to do something great, the people you hang around with, the people who or don't share that passion with you are not going to help you get to where you need to go. Because when you go to school, your passion right now should be being a professional golfer, correct? I was like, yes, correct. That's what I want to do. So you go to school, you leave class at noon, you go to the golf course. You're at the golf course till 5 o'clock. Well, all the people you're hanging around with a bunch of fraternity guys and having fun, doing that kind of stuff. And he was like, those guys are all studying all afternoon. And when you get back from playing golf, they're ready to go out and have fun, and you haven't done your work. And you've got to get up at Saturday morning at 6 a.m. and be at the golf course and practicing and getting ready. And they're preparing for their lives after school the minute you get done at noon, or the minute they get done at noon. You're preparing for your life all day. This is an all-day deal. And I know it's not what you want to hear. I know it's probably not the most fun thing in the world to hear, but if you want to do this for a living, that's what you have to start thinking about. And he was totally right. It was a moment for me to say, this is what I was gifted to be good at this. I have a passion to do it. I've got to sacrifice some things to do that. And so my junior year, I really kind of stopped being a college party kid for a second and realized, okay, if I'm going to do this for a living, I need to be serious about it. I need to get my butt in the room, do my homework when I need to do my homework, get my school stuff done so I can go practice, play, and be successful on the golf course. Ended up being a first-team All-American my junior year, first-team All-American my senior year, SEC Player of the Year my senior year. Didn't win a college tournament until my senior year in college. When I finally won one, I won 3 in a row. So went through a lot of stuff in those last couple years of college. Ended up turning professional in 2004 after I played the Masters as an amateur in 2003 from one of the Public Links after my senior year in college. Made the cut as an amateur. That kind of propelled me to say, okay, I can do this. I can play with the best players in the world on the toughest golf courses in the world and compete. Turned pro after that. Spent a couple years on the web.com tour, nationwide tour then. 2 years of growth. It was really good for me. Learning how to travel. Things you don't realize, or I didn't realize when I turned pro, is tournaments are Thursday through Sunday. Well, you get in town on Monday. So you've got 3 days to make a lot of bad decisions. Because you don't have a teacher there telling you what you need to be doing. You don't have a parent there telling you what you need to do, and it's all on you. You've got to figure out how to be prepared and ready to go by Thursday morning. And it took me a year and a half to figure that out, to kind of understand, okay, this is how you travel. This is how, this is where I should stay. This is how I should get my body ready. This is how I should get my mind ready by Thursday morning. Anyway, so get my card in 06, my rookie year on tour in 07. I finished third, my third event, San Diego. I remember being 10 under par through 10 holes, having a chance to shoot 59, and not being able to tee the ball up on 11. I was so nervous. And get done that, finished third that week. Tiger ended up winning that week. First time I ever met Tiger Woods or got to play with him was that week, and kind of saw what good looked like. If I want to beat somebody who's the best at what they do, this is what it's going to have to look like. And so that kind of gave me an idea of, okay, this is how are we going to attack this? How are we going to go about beating this guy? Because he is, right at that time, he was the best. And ended up winning later on that year and kind of propelled me. A couple of years where I didn't win, struggled a little bit, and things kind of changed when I had kids. I was a golfaholic. I'd go play golf all day, come home, think about how I played that day, think about how I'm going to practice the next day, nonstop. And as anybody will tell you, it's probably not healthy. You just can't be all on all the time. You've got to have an outlet. You've got to have a way to get away and kind of reset so you're fresh and ready to go for the next day. That came to me when I had a little girl. And so in 2011, Lily came in March 3rd, 2011. I won a month later in Hilton Head, and I've won 7 times since I've had kids in the same amount of time. So I've had kids for 7 years. I've been on tour for 13 years. I won once before I had kids. I've won 7 times since. So something to be said for that. They don't care if I shoot 80 or 60. They want Dad, and they want to go have fun, and they don't care if I'm in a good mood or bad mood. We're going to have fun, Dad. Sorry, get on board. So it's been good for me to kind of know that I need to have that outlet of time away. Now, how does that impact? How does MBA kind of help me get there? Well, they do it, and they're kind of sneaky how they do it here. And I say that in a good way. I didn't really realize what I was going through at the time when I came here. 7th grade through senior in high school, I had a great time. I love my time here. Made a lot of good friends who are in the crowd today who came to watch me speak. But they do it through preparation, and you don't know what you're doing. you think, oh, I'm writing a theme, I'm having to do an outline and then a rough draft and all this other stuff to get ready to do this English project, or I've got to do this much homework, or otherwise I can't get on privileged lists and be able to go out and study hall and hang out with my friends or whatever it may be. They're instilling work ethic and preparation in you without you knowing it. And there's something to be said for that, especially in today's world where nothing, I don't care what anybody says, there's a reason why I've made it on tour, and one of them is work ethic. Got instilled here, got instilled at Vanderbilt, and still learning today, but it's because of that. Nothing beats work ethic. There's plenty of guys on tour who are extremely talented that I will beat every day of the week because they don't work like I do. And that's just the facts of the matter. And so they do it here at MBA. They instill that work ethic in you when you're young, when you're able to understand this is what we need to do to be successful. And it's really important, I think, especially in kids, to have that. Because otherwise it's hard to, as he said, as was said earlier, it's hard to instill new values when you get older. You got to start them young. The other thing it does that I think is the reason why I've been successful on tour is they push you here to fail. They want you to fail. I'm not talking about failing in the classroom. I'm saying they're going to push you so hard they're going to push you outside your comfort zone and make you fail and stuff. And that's great. That's how you learn. I fail a lot in my job. I've played in 300 tournaments and won 10. So that's a pretty high failure rate. So I'm used to that. But that's what you want to be great. You can't be afraid of failing. If you're afraid of failing, you're never going to see how high and how far you can go. I use that as a huge motivating factor in my life. I don't want to fail. So how do I not fail? I got to work hard. I've got to make sure I've got a great plan in front of me. I've got to get out there and, whatever's not working in my game, I've got to go work on it. So I use that all the time. Fear of failure is a huge motivating factor, and I think in a lot of guys on tour, and I see that in the best players in the world, that fear of failure pushes them to be better at what they are and learning from those mistakes. The other thing that I think that's amazing about this place is just the ability to surround yourself with great people and like-minded people. And I don't mean like-minded people in that they think the same as you. I mean like-minded people and they want to be great at what they do. And I think the school does a great job of that, getting teachers, getting the right people around these kids and make them be great at what they do, to push them to be great. And when you surround yourself with great people, great things happen. I've been fortunate to meet a lot of great, unbelievably smart people, CEOs of major top 500, Fortune 500 companies, and I always ask them questions because I'm always interested in how they got to where they were. Just I'm sure you're interested in hearing stories about, when people are successful. So the one motivating factor, the common factor I see in all these guys is they all like being the dumbest guy in the room. They say, if I'm the dumbest guy in the room, then I've done my job. I've surrounded myself with the smartest people I possibly can. They have no egos. They don't care about being the smartest guy in the room. They want to be surrounded by great people because A, it pushes them to be better at their job, and B, they know they're always on the cutting edge of things. So NBA does that here. They bring the best and the brightest together to push each other to get better, which is a very rare thing in this world today. It seems like today we have a lot of egos that want to get in the way of making this world a better place. So that's a rare and amazing thing, and I'm fortunate to have had that here. And then talking about family, it is a family. I was in school with a lot of some of my closest friends in life I met here at MBA. I still see quite a few of them around town, and it's great to see that sense of family. I have that with Vanderbilt, but more so I have it here with MBA, just because it's such a close, tight-knit community. Everywhere I go, I either see alumni, I see current students, I feel like we're bonded together. A, you're stuck with me, and B, I'm stuck with you. So I try to make sure that I live that life out there in front of everybody else, knowing that this is what we stand for. This is treating people the right way, looking people in the eye when you say hello, making sure you appreciate them, spending their time to come say hello to you. Little stuff like that goes a long way. And so I learned that here. I learned that being around a bunch of great people and pushing me to be better at what I do. So I wanted to tell you a couple stories about how this all wraps together. And I use Tiger and Phil as a lot of examples because I've gotten to know them pretty well and play a lot of golf with them. And so the first time I played on a team, I played on the Ryder Cup team in 2012 at Medina. And we ended up losing that in pretty epic fashion on Sunday. And pretty devastating, to be quite honest with you. But I remember getting there on Friday morning, and I was the first group off. I just won the FedEx Cup. It was literally left the day after you saw all that stuff happen. And we show up in Chicago, and it's just a crazy scene. We hadn't won the Ryder Cup. We just lost it overseas, so a lot of pressure being in Chicago. And I go off first on Friday morning, an alternate shot with Jim Furyk. We're playing Rory McIlroy and Graham McDowell. And David said, I want you teeing off first. I want you setting the tone. You're playing the best golf in the world right now. Go set the tone for us. And so I get there. Remember, I've not played in the Ryder Cup before. I have no idea what I'm getting myself into. And I get to the golf course at 5:30, and the first tee's lit up. And it's pitch black outside. And I look over, and it's 15,000 people in the stands, and they've lit the first tee up with their cell phone lights. And they're chanting back and forth. And it's just absolutely insane. I'm about to throw up. I'm so nervous. And I look over, and Tiger's sitting next to me in the bus on the way in, and he's kind of talking to me, trying to calm me down a little bit. I'm like, man, I don't think I can tee it up. I'm getting like physically sick. I'm so nervous right now. And he said, Brandt, I feel the exact same way. The exact same way you feel right now, I feel. Like, no, you don't. You've won 80 tournaments and 14 majors and all that stuff. And he's like, no, I'm telling you, Brandt. It's exactly, I've played in 8 Ryder Cups. It's exactly how I feel. And so the story of that is, no matter what you're going through, somebody feels that way. I feel the exact same way. We're not made differently. Phil feels the exact same way I do when I get nervous. Tiger feels the exact same way I do when I feel nervous. And you have to take comfort and solace in that fact. When you push yourself outside your comfort zone and your boundaries, you've got to take comfort in the fact that no matter what you're trying to do, whoever you're trying to beat or wherever you're trying to go, they feel the exact same way you do. Exactly. So take comfort in that. And that's kind of what got me through those moments, was knowing that, okay, no matter how bad I feel, no matter how nervous I feel on a golf course, I know the guy I'm playing feels the exact same way I do. All right, now let's just go figure it out from there. And that's how I handled pressure. That's how I figured it out, was knowing that that guy feels the exact same way I do. So he's freaking out, I'm freaking out. Let's go figure it out from here. And it's a pretty special thing when you do that. And the other story I want to tell you about is attitude. Attitude's probably the biggest reason why I've had a long career on tour. Not to be Tony Robbins, talk about the power of positive thinking and stuff like that, but attitude is huge in life. How you react to certain things, how you handle adversity, how you deal with successes, how you deal with failures. I'll also come back to attitude. Do you have a good attitude about it? Are you willing to work at it? Are you willing to fight through something that might not go your way? Because no matter what happens, and I tell kids all the time they're starting to play on tour. On Sunday morning when you have a lead, I don't care what's going to happen that day. Nobody can tell you what's going to happen. You want to go out and hit 14 fairways and 18 greens and shoot 63. It's not going to happen. There is no plan for the day of how it's going to happen. The only thing that's going to happen, the only thing you can control on Sundays is your attitude. No matter what happens, people feel like you're prepared for it. It's okay. It will all work out if you fight through it. A lot of people have something go wrong on Sundays, and you see it all the time on tour, and they can't fight through it. One bad break, one bad bounce, and here we go again. I'm snake bit. It's not going to happen this Sunday. I see it all the time. I see it in business, see it in life, and it's just strictly a choice they make when they got out of bed that day. It's not going to have a good attitude, and I think that's the worst thing you can have in life is a bad attitude. And so I got to know a guy named Mike Babcock, who is the coach of Toronto Maple Leafs right now. He coached Canadian hockey in 2012 Winter Games in Vancouver. And so he talked about this a little bit, and it was really fascinating to me. So I reached out to him, got to know him, and talked to him quite a little bit about it. He gave me a quote that he uses with his teams that he lives by. He's got it on his desk. And I just thought it was an unbelievable quote because it talks about how important that is. And it's by a guy named Charles Swindoll, who is a evangelical preacher, and he's an author. And he talks about attitude, and he said, the longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on life. Attitude to me is more important than facts. It's more important than the past, than education, than money, than circumstances, than failures and successes, than what other people think or say or do. It is more important than appearances, giftedness, or skill. It will make or break a company, a church, or a home. The remarkable thing is we have a choice every day regarding the attitude we will embrace for the day. We cannot change our past. We cannot change the fact that people will act in a certain way. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can do is play the one string we have, and that is our attitude. I'm convinced that life is 10% of what happens to me and 90% of how I react to it. And so it is with you. We are in charge of our attitudes. And so I gave that quote this year, 2016, or last fall, 2016, at the Ryder Cup again. We're playing in Hazeltine, hadn't won it in 8 years, and I gave that quote to the guys on Saturday night before we went out on Sunday and played. Just said, we don't know what tomorrow's going to look like. We have no idea how this thing's going to play out. But if we all have a great attitude tomorrow and go out there like we're going to fight through whatever happens, I think we'll be okay. And Matt Kuchar did a really cool thing. He got a dry erase board and put up in front of the whole team, because I just want everybody to write down one thing they're thankful for. And it can't be golf, and it can't be your family. Anything else. Because it's really hard to be in a bad mood when you're thankful for something. And so it just kind of ties into this week, this school, my life, is how thankful I am for, getting to go to a place like this. My parents have the ability to send me here, and the foresight to realize what an important role it would play in my life. And B, how thankful I am for the life that I've gotten able to live. I've been put in a very fortunate situation and been very lucky. I've worked very hard, taken advantage of some very unbelievable aspects of my life, but a large part of that's due to this, due to the attitude that I learned here, the work ethic that I learned here, and the ability to kind of overcome some adversity. So I'm very thankful for this school, for this teachers that taught me, even though I probably didn't act like it back then. So it's been an unbelievable journey, unbelievable experience, and I still think, even though I said in that video, still think my best golf's in front of me back then, I still think my best golf's in front of me. I've had to battle through some more injuries and deal with that kind of stuff, but at 36 years old, I'm a lot smarter now than I was 10 years ago. I think I can still play some great golf, so I'm looking forward to kind of carrying that NBA flag out there for another 10 years at least, and try to win us a major and bring it back here to the Hill. So I appreciate you all having me. Thanks so much.